Welcome back. We have a guest with us today, one of our fellow teachers from Emily Griffith High School. He is one of our history teachers, teaches all the stuff involved with history. So if you do have a history or social studies question, now would be a great time to call in with it.
So Jaydee, what is it that you teach at Emily Griffith?
Right now I teach U.S. History 1 and 2. I'm kind of familiar with many of the social studies topics, so it includes civics, psychology, geography, and basically any of the social sciences.
How long have you been teaching for?
I've been teaching since 2007. If we count my year of student teaching, then since 2006.
And have you been teaching at Emily Griffith the entire time?
The entire time I've been here in Denver, I've been teaching at Emily Griffith. My first year of teaching was up in a small rural village in Alaska. It was named Kotlik, K-O-T-L-I-K. And I spent my first 4 years teaching up there. The population was 500 to 600 people, so we're talking very, very small.
Wow.
What was that like?
It was definitely an experience. It was a good experience. It was kind of a culture shock because, I'm used to living in cities and things like that, and I moved up there. We were talking about 600 people, which was smaller than the middle school that I just did my student teaching in. There was no roads, no cars, the boardwalk. The flight to get there is in one of those creepy little planes that you see on movies. Usually about, people going up to Alaska and crashing.
Right.
And that was the plane I was crawling into. Duct tape was sometimes on the propeller, so good times.
Are you
would not be able to
from
do that.
Alaska or?
No, I was born in Hilo, Hawaii, actually.
Oh, wow.
My dad was a military brat, so I moved around most of my whole life. And I was actually in Washington State, go Hawks, before moving up to Alaska.
So from Hawaii to Alaska.
Yeah.
Wow.
If anyone's wondering, the coldest it was up there was -40.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh boy, we don't even get close to that here.
It hurt when I went out and breathed. The
wow.
cold air hits your lungs and it burns. So that's why people quite often are just wrapped up like mummies.
Wow.
So if you brought a cup of water outside,
I
not
actually
instantly, but
I actually had a thicker beard, so by the time I would go from my house to the school in this weather, the heat would be captured and it would freeze. So
The
I
water
would be
vapor from
breaking
you
off
breathing and-
pieces of ice in my beard as I walked through the school. It's quite entertaining.
oh yeah, we can't complain too much here in Denver.
Oh no, you
After-
still
after-
can. It's
after
cold.
hearing that.
Well, I think that Luigi has some social studies questions on the social media board if we want to check those out.
I actually do. Jaydee, what caused the Civil War? We need to know.
Ooh, okay. So what caused the Civil War is one of those questions where there's not just one answer or even a really easy answer. So I'll throw out several ideas here, and you can go ahead and take the best ones that you think of. The first one is states' rights. There was a big disconnect between the idea of whether or not the state had a right to leave the federal government or the Union. So the South believed that when the Constitution was written up, that it was more of an agreement, and that any time a state could leave that agreement if they so desired. Obviously, many people in the North had different ideas about that, and so when the Civil War occurred, many people were fighting for their belief of states' rights and then preserving the Union. A second big cause is, of course, slavery. Slavery was an uncompromising issue between people living in the North and the South. For the South, it was an economic way of life, and they felt that they needed slaves to exist. The North had long ago outlawed slavery, and there was a refusal to allow slavery to not exist where it was, but to prevent from spreading out. Many of the southern states wanted to expand westward, and any state coming in on the westward, they felt that it should be optional to become slavery or a free state. Many people in the North, and Lincoln was one of them, one of the Republicans believed that slavery could exist where it was, but could not be allowed to spread. Culturally, too, many people in the North and the South had become, why in name still Americans, were vastly different from each other. The North at this point were much more heavy industrialized areas, heavily populated and things like that, where the South was in many ways a lot more rural and very agricultural based. The tipping point, if you want the actual final reason for the Civil War to start, it was the election of Lincoln in 1860. And if you look at the actual electoral college, Lincoln did not get any states in the South. In fact, I would be very hard pressed to know how many states or people voted for Lincoln in the South. So Lincoln won the election and didn't carry any Southern state. And for many people in the South, that was the final straw. How could they be a part of this nation when they didn't even have a say in who became the president? So those are just a few of the main causes of the Civil War. Of course, I'm generalizing, but those are the big ones right there.
All right, great. That's a lot of information. And remember, you can always call in right now. We've got a social studies expert here with us.